see
But I
us.
said, no, I'll wait for everyone else.
Oh,
So
well,
I'm not being soft there.
you would have asked him if he wants us to go. There might be a meeting somewhere else.
Yes.
When we come down there, I mean to print out a thing saying don't wear any outdoor shoes and stick it on.
Oh, yeah.
I forget.
You ready for us? Yeah. Hello.
Ian Blair-Pilling. Good morning.
Steve, I'm Dave.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Mike.
Sam,
David.
Hello.
Robin. Hello. David.
Ian.
Mike. Nice to meet you. Hello. Right.
Hello.
Mike.
Chocolate biscuits.
David. Good morning.
Do you guys want a cuppa?
Love one, yeah.
If there's one going, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, why not?
Never knowingly turned down a
So
cup.
teas or coffees?
Not for me, thanks.
Not for you.
Tea for me.
I was quite happy to have a coffee. Yeah.
Coffee.
Thank you.
Councillor Jackson.
No, I'm fine, thanks, Dave.
Go.
Oh, the tea. That's right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So we've got 2 teas, and you're doing your coffee.
I'll
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good man. There's a biscuit there if you want one, chaps.
Right.
Too soon after breakfast. Lovely day, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
We're done with Lee.
It's beautiful. Lee's here, look.
Yep.
Anyone having it black?
I'm going to make teas. I'm guessing they're both white, both
Yeah,
teas?
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
please, milk, yeah.
I don't have sugar, fellas.
Oh,
Is that all right?
No,
it's all
sorry,
right.
thank you.
I'm sweet enough.
Good man.
I'm trying to
My
be
favourite line.
So Lee, you're Lee Calvert?
Yeah, that's right.
Ah, right. So you're the manager of this centre?
Yes.
Right. So do you work here?
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Lee manages 2 seconds.
Yeah, I'm here and Nado in Tisbury as well.
Which way?
At the Nado in Tisbury.
Right.
Tisbury,
Oh,
yeah.
So you kind of split your time?
Yeah,
that's right.
Right.
And
Yeah,
Dave, what's
please
your...
help yourself. Yeah.
Who are you, Dave? What do you do?
So I'm the Director of Leisure, Culture and Communities for Wiltshire Council. So
Okay.
leisure is part of the remit.
Right.
Yeah. That's my background actually.
Okay.
that all right?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's not for me.
Oh, all right.
Right.
Okay, we come in, shut the door and...
Yeah.
Have you got any sugar, Lee?
Oh, sorry.
There's your tea.
Yeah.
Tea's on there.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. He's just gone for some sugar,
Yeah, that's
and then we'll
right.
kick off. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Important thing first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spoon
You broke off from work by the looks of it.
I
Is that
have,
right?
yeah. I'm out, yeah, laying
Construction
patio.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I got a small building firm,
Yeah.
locally in Warminster, employed 2
Yeah.
guys.
I grew up doing work for my dad. He was a
Yeah.
builder. So,
All right.
Yeah.
So you know the graft.
I know
You
the
get your
graft.
hands dirty when you. Was that school holidays? Did you?
That was
Have
my
you ever-
pocket money.
Yeah.
That was my pocket money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Shall we
Right.
kick off?
Yeah, thank you for meeting us, Ian.
Okay, let's do some introductions, but in essence you asked for this meeting, here we are. We both have to leave shortly after 15:15, so let's kind of pace ourselves for that.
Yeah.
I'm Ian Blair-Pilling. I am the Cabinet Member with the Council for Public Health, Leisure, Libraries and as of 4 weeks ago now,
Yeah.
communities. So the
Okay.
area board system and everything that comes under that.
Dave Redfern, Director of Leisure, Culture and Communities. So a lot of what Ian does falls into my officer area. So leisure, not just leisure facilities, but sports development, which is now very different from where it was 30, 40 years ago. Libraries, communities, heritage, Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's about my remit.
Okay.
I'm lead the centre manager here, so you got.
Okay.
Okay. I'm Steve Howe. I emailed you about the meeting today. Do you want to know what we do for a living? Are you interested?
You squash players. You know, if you want to tell us what you want to do, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'm an anti-corruption officer for the government.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed that.
Anti-corruption officer for the government.
Oh, right.
Dealing in serious internal corruption.
Good stuff.
Based where? Where's?
Can't tell you.
All right. Oh, okay.
He signed the Official Secrets Act.
He can tell you that he'd have to kill you.
Then you must be interested in what was in the news last night then.
What was that?
The Tory MP.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We deal with a bit bigger stuff than that, but yeah.
Okay. No, I'm pleased to hear it.
Wow.
Sorry.
I'm Tony Bly. I live up the road. I'm a squash player. I played squash many years ago, and I moved to Warminster and just been here a few years, and trying to find ways to kind of integrate with the town. And a few months ago, I had a game of squash with my daughter's boyfriend, thinking he would completely annihilate me, but actually, as it turned out, I gave him a good game. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe I'm not too old at 64. So I found these guys, the Scorpion Squash Club. I started playing here, and it's been great. It's been very sociable, which is something that can't be said for gym activities. So I've got to know these guys well, and they've become friends. So yeah, when the news landed that the squash courts were going to go, I was frankly gutted.
Yeah. So I'm Mike Turner. I'm born and bred in Warminster. All right. So I went to that secondary school just there. I'm very familiar with the sports centre, having been coming here for 45 years from a kid really. All right. And I've been playing squash at these courts for 26 years. All right, and then obviously developed. I joined the Scorpion Squash Club then as well. So I've got a long-standing interest in the town and in this area, and the sports centre as well. It's got a lot of background, and I used the gym regularly over those 20 odd years as well. So the whole sports centre, I've got a good knowledge and background, and I've got some experience. And so I've seen lots of things. I know how the usage here is. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'm Robin Denton. I lived abroad for many years and came back to the UK about 18 years ago and played squash in the States a little bit, and before I played squash at school when I was here, when I lived here before, and I just wanted to come back and play squash. And there was a squash club here already, Scorpion Squash, and there were people playing, so I just joined and carried on since then. Sort of life without squash for me is, because I don't do any other exercise, and I think it's the best exercise you can do, and it's fun and
we're both squash players, incidentally.
And we know Tony.
I've been a member here for over 20 years. As part of my counsellor hat, I have developed links with Kingdown School and the Squash Rackets Association coach in Salisbury, planning to have youth sessions here either at lunchtime or immediately after school. It depends on twin glass-backed courts to make that possible.
Okay. You guys asked for this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
we're very fond of our courts, and we want to keep them effectively.
So what can you do? What can you do to keep the courts?
Okay. Blunt answer is no. Unless there's some blockbuster argument that we haven't heard of before.
You haven't called for any evidence.
We've got lots of evidence.
You have not called for any evidence.
Yeah, why? So how have we got?
Where are the terms of reference for this? Where is the call for evidence? Where's the timetable for this?
Can I say, guys?
Sorry.
Yeah, let me answer. I mean, I don't understand that question, if I'm being honest. And I'm not being rude or anything. I just don't understand it. But what I will cut to the chase on is, guys, we get it, and that's why we wanted to come and meet you today and front this up, because we get it. You know, but the facts of it are that the way local authorities are moving now, we've got to make sure these facilities are sustainable. Because let's be honest, if they're not, then we won't have facilities, never mind squash courts.
Just on that point, you've got to put the effort in to make it sustainable, and Wiltshire Council currently do not.
So, sorry, Steve, isn't it? Yeah. We are more than willing to work with squash federations, but I've been in this sector, like you probably know your sector very well. I've been in this sector now since I was 16-year-old, and I'm now just turned 54. Unfortunately, and as a past squash player, this is a declining trend. We can't ignore that, and there are exceptions.
Okay, just
but we're not in. But we're not, Steve. We're not in the realms of trying to book a trend like squash.
Okay, who have you spoke to find out it's a declining trend?
Squash England Squash.
When did you speak to them?
Well, we get intelligence from them. I've got.
So you haven't.
I've got not personally. No,
okay.
no.
So I have spoke to them.
But what is it we're trying to prove here? Because what we do know is, with a bigger gym, we can double the membership base here. We're not going to move to over 1,000 squash players here ever.
Can I ask a quick question? How many gyms are there in Warminster?
Sorry.
How many gyms are there?
Hold on a second. Let me.
Well, no, I've just asked a question. Is that fair enough that I can ask that question?
Well, I don't see what relevance it has.
But
Because
local authorities. Do you know how many there are?
Yeah, but let me.
Do you know how many there are?
No.
So you don't know what your competition is?
Yeah.
You're going to spend £1 million.
Lee will know that. I don't specifically know that. Lee, as the centre manager, knows that. You
Okay,
keep laughing,
Lee,
guys.
how many gyms are there in Warminster?
3 others that have actually gyms.
Right, and how big are they? And what do they charge?
Not sure off the top of my head.
Okay.
Can I back from this, because obviously you will want to pick points in the argument in all of this.
I'm a ratepayer, I'm a taxpayer.
In terms of evidence in all of this, we started some time ago, and my role in this, when I came to this job, I was faced with a number of leisure centres were on the list to be closed. To actually go, complete. And a number of libraries. I consider it a personal achievement, well, a team achievement, that is no longer the case. That we are, within Wiltshire, maintaining all 20 of our leisure centres, whereas other authorities are not. All around us, they are closing them, or where, for example, in Swindon, they're trying to reopen, they have serious problems. There is no plan for the Oasis or anything yet, etc. Whereas we have 20, we are maintaining them. That is not just because we said we want to. We have to improve our financial sustainability across the piece. Bear me out. Bear me out, please. Within that, it's not just a financial equation. I asked the question way early on in this. What is the raison d'etre of our leisure centres? And essentially, we have to contribute to 3 areas. Public health, well-being, whatever, to the local community and to the local economy. Now, each of our leisure centres will have a different balance in that and how much they contribute, and it's part of the reason, for example, why the new Trowbridge Leisure Centre is being built in the middle of Trowbridge. Because part of the argument is it will make a contribution to the economy of the centre of Trowbridge. Not only that, it will also, it's at a point where it is most accessible to those who are living in areas of deprivation. which is a clue as to where our priorities are lying in this. Because unless we, as leisure centres, were actually supporting the objectives of Wiltshire Council business plan, then we're still sat on the side as a non-statutory salami sliceable savings area. What we have done is move it from being that salami sliceable bit into the middle of going, no, we're here, we're supporting public health, we're supporting the economy, we're supporting this. All of those things come with, at the same time, having to improve our financial sustainability substantially. Not just by 10% or 20%, but substantially. Therefore, when we come to it and we look at every single leisure centre, and I manage to argue for money to say, look, if we've established an argument that we want to keep all 20, then we have to invest in them. We can't just stand still and expect them to just go on getting customers through the door.
Could I respond?
Sorry?
Could I respond?
Well, let me finish first.
Okay.
So we had a pot of capital that we need to be investing to best effect. That capital has to be winning its own business case wherever it is invested. And so it's not just that we want to maintain every leisure centre as it is or as it was, it's what will it be doing to improve that financial sustainability? What will it be doing to improve overall public health? And in the case of Warminster, there was an overwhelming case that the latent demand for the gym, and I know you kind of pointed at, how many other gyms are, etc. But we've had the market research done that says what is the latent demand, and it takes into account all that competition, etc., and that there's a very substantial latent demand. And if you go up in the gym, you can see it's already overcrowded with kit up there. Secondly, we couldn't meet that without finding a far bigger area, far more accessible area, because bear in mind what I said about public health, and I talked about areas of deprivation. Another target area are those people, are the disabled people, the elderly people, etc., that we are trying to be supporting. And I'm afraid, the stair lift there doesn't cut it in there. So having a gym, no matter what kit we put in there, it doesn't work. Had to come downstairs. If we don't take out these 2 squash courts, then we can't do that here. Then we're faced with, there's no point in investing in Warminster. We take that money, we use it somewhere else. We're left then with an asset that doesn't pay for itself, the squash court here. And when you start looking at the numbers, and if you just peel out, for example, the maintenance cost of the glass wall, the maintenance cost of that, it does not pay for itself. It doesn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can I respond?
You've never spent money on
but therefore, now, when we started down this exercise, I was a squash player. I started playing at I can't remember, 9 or 10 years old. Only gave in when my knee gave in.
Every year.
Late 40s or so.
Yeah.
So my perspective of this was, I wanted to preserve the squash here. I've made them go back and back and back and check the numbers and check this because I wanted to keep the squash. But then it was an overwhelming argument that we have to do this. Part of the factor in that is, and I know you're not happy with the courts, is there are courts at Leighton, 4.5 miles away from here. Yeah. Potentially 2. There are 2 courts there.
Yeah.
They can be in service if there is the demand. If there is the demand, they can be in service. There isn't the demand. The demand there, the demand here. One of the things I'm facing now is not just Warminster. It's the decline of the use of all our squash courts. And the horror for me would be to be faced with a series of financial equations where all our squash courts are under threat. We are working to make sure that doesn't happen.
There is a reason why that's happening. Could I just answer that point? So the membership that you offer does not include squash. So straight away you're making squash an elitist sport that only if you pay extra you can use it.
Do you think then, Steve, if we did that we'd get a lot more
Yeah, I
members?
think you would.
Absolutely.
Well, when we did,
Okay, look at
when
how-
we included
We've done that.
rackets
We've
within
done
the
that.
racket
But you didn't
membership,
promote it.
it's
Look at-
not changed a
look
thing.
It
at-
wasn't promoted.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about it
Look at
until way
other
after.
other councils. Take Hampshire. We border with Hampshire. They include it. You go to Andover Sports Centre, 2 glass back courts, fully booked all the time because it's included in their membership.
Are we comparing eggs with eggs though? Have they got a sustainable leisure service
Could-
where they're at?
could-
I think it's difficult.
Sorry,
for the gym clubs to
I really
upstairs.
wanted to
Wait a minute,
respond
wait a minute,
to Ian there.
Wait a minute.
Steve,
wanted to
I
respond.
did want to respond before I forget what I was going to respond with. Okay, so the need for an accessible gym, we all appreciate that. There are people with mobility difficulties and whatever, and they're not well catered for with Snap Fitness or Harrods or the Bishop Stroke. 50,000 quid would put a lift in to the existing gym, which can become a boutique gym for people with disabilities. So that's not £1 million quid. That's 50,000 quid. You say that that there is all this research on the latent demand for a gym, but for some reason we're not allowed to see that, and I find that difficult because as a ratepayer, I'm paying for it. It's my £1 million, and I as somebody who's been in business myself, as a Robin and Mike, we're all business people. I don't see the business case for taking a gym that is 100 square meters, turning it into 200 square meters, and build it, and they will come, because they won't. They'll go to Snap Fitness, or they go to Harrods or the Bishop Stroke. I mean, do you know how the prices compare? Sorry, the prices compare at Snap Fitness with the price of the gym here. Do you know
So
that?
we're unique because we've got the pool as well. So
Yes,
with our
yes.
membership,
Sorry,
But excluding the pool, they do classes. They've got a far better gym. There's 500 square meters. They've got all the kit that you want. They've got 1,000 centres around the world, over 20 countries. You can use your membership in any one of those all the way around the world. It's open 24/7. They whatever you do with 200 square meters here, you are not going to be able to compete.
I disagree with you. I totally.
Well, let's see the
disagree.
evidence,
Okay,
please. Can we see the evidence?
Sorry, let me respond to that, if I may. You criticise the build it and they will come. We built a new leisure centre in Melksham with a much bigger gym space, etc.
Did they have a Snap Fitness there?
Sorry?
Did
Yes.
they have a Snap Fitness
Yes.
there? Right.
Yeah.
And lifestyle
our
fitness in
numbers,
town as
our
well.
numbers in Melksham from previous exit have trebled. They've gone up by a multiple of 5 in the swimming, etc. So
Is it a brand new centre or just a brand new gym?
it's a brand new centre.
But
Yes,
Steve,
it's
Look at the changing rooms.
if we develop a gym, well, we're looking at the changing rooms as well. We are looking at the changing rooms. We can't have those changing rooms as they currently are. We get that. But you don't just have to build a new centre to improve.
No.
And I've been doing this for the last 40 years. You've told me about your professions, guys, and you're making assumptions here based on, if I'm being honest, probably a lack of knowledge.
Yes,
Because
of
I've got
course,
a
because
lot
we
of
haven't been shown
but-
the information.
Okay.
And as a ratepayer,
Okay.
what I'm seeing here, and sorry for getting emotional, but what I'm seeing here is obfuscation and a lack of transparency and a lack of accountability to the people who pay this £1 million.
I think
We-
you've FOI'd us, which you're perfectly entitled to do. We have nothing.
Why do we need to FOI?
Yeah, why wasn't a
Why do we
consultation
need to
done?
FOI?
Why weren't the town
No, we
council?
would have shared it with you. You didn't need to FOI. That's a really good point.
Hold on.
No. We were told that we
Hold on.
are not entitled to the information. We have that as email saying no.
Sorry,
We don't have to justify it.
Let me stop this for a second. I think where you might not be understanding is the process and level of decision here.
No, we don't
etc.
understand it.
By virtue of this level of decision, this is a director's decision. This is not a decision that I have to take, that it has to be consulted on publicly, or that it has to be done. Every day this guy is making decisions like that. There's a kind of hierarchy of these things. Now, to make sure that he's not alone in doing this, a board has sat in all of this. It's taken its minutes, etc., and there is a process. And on that board, there's myself, there's the corporate director of place, there's the corporate director of resources, there is the public health director, and there's David. And we have examined this case, and we've been backwards and forwards in making this decision. But it's a decision that we must make, because at the end of the day, I go back to my point of we have to try and make these 20 leisure centres financially sustainable. And so there are times when we have to make a decision, move on, make it happen. Otherwise, we will be facing things in a completely different direction. And it won't be a consultation about whether we keep squash courts or not. It'll be a consultation about which leisure centres we have.
So in other words, there's the sword of Damocles of closing the centre, and you had to act quickly and without any consultation with the town council, the people of the town, or even the people who use this.
It's an officer decision. What we look at is the data, and what we've seen here is.
When you say officers, this is Ian Blair. Your decision.
I'm the officer.
He's the officer.
It's my decision.
It's his decision.
My decision.
I thought
but what I use is what Ian's explained is there's a board called the Leisure, Culture and Communities Capital Board, where we consider capital projects. But before that, there's the project inception, which people like Lee get involved in, a project delivery group. The board comes to project delivery, which is officers, which I chair, and then things that need to be passed up through the project delivery level to the board, go through there, and projects like this will go to the board for, making sure that everybody, and, because it can't be, yes, I take the responsibility as director of making these decisions, and I don't take them lightly. I get that I'm affecting lives like you guys are. But what I have to weigh up with my experience and with one thing our chief exec has been very keen on is evidence-based decisions. So all the evidence in terms of, we look at the squash here, we look at the squash at Leighton Recreation Centre, we look at the opportunities and the evidence that we've got in the past of when we put development in, we can utilise that not only from a sustainable business case, but like the sessions that we've been talking to this morning, the local physios that are coming from Warminster Hospital, they will be able to pass their clients through into a far more accessible gym. We are interested in public health. We have to do it in a sustainable way, as Ian, and if we don't make these moves, I've worked in local authorities that have not been astute as this one and do not manage their finances as good as this one, and they've got leisure centres closing. That is something myself and Ian are passionate about guarding. Now, there are going to be humps in the road along the way, of which this is one of them. I wanted to come here today to talk to you guys about solutions, because we have to make this happen. We have to go ahead and do this.
Excuse me, guys, can I just say something? If you've got £1 million to spend, why do we have to lose the cause? Why can't we do something
Robin, about this discussion.
There's a lot of possibilities.
Is there an alternative?
With or without consultation, it would have been nice to have been consulted in that sense.
But what are squash players are going to say about them losing their cause?
Well, bear with me. Is to be able to. We've got a huge building here, which is structurally sound, isn't it? And there must be a way.
Was there an alternative of accommodating an extra of extending the gym, retaining the squash courts, so you didn't lose the extra sports facility because you're losing the sport in the squash. I mean, like I told you initially, I've been at the gym over 20 years and I've never seen numbers that that it's always been a handful of people only in there. I mean, I know you mentioned those numbers there, 500 members, but 500, that's not 500 gym members. Right. I think you're talking about 1,000. That is only speculative.
It's 500 people paying 30 plus a month.
Yeah.
But that could be swimmers, isn't it?
Right, let's turn the other way. How much are the squash players contributing financially to this
£30 a
centre?
month.
How much does
How many,
the
though?
pool
For
contribute?
me,
How many?
30.
Though?
Does the
How many
pool
of you are there?
I've only just had this argument with Ian at Christmas, and I managed to get the membership here. Before that, it was £10 a go. Do you remember me speaking to you, Ian? I sent you an email. The membership was only for Salisbury and Tidworth.
Yeah.
You didn't include it here. So if the figures, what figures are you using? What date period for squash figures are you using for Warminster to make this decision?
Well, we looked at we looked at the figures when we made it. We started looking at this decision making process last summer.
Okay.
But we've tracked the figures ever since. You know, so we've looked at the last 6 months' data, and it's not really any different
to what it was. But the figures are skewed because Tony has been attending meetings to get the second court opened. With one court, and as squash players, you will understand this. Club nights don't work. You get more than 4 people at a club night. You play for 10 minutes. You come off. You're sat for 40 minutes. If there's 6, 7, 8 of you, it doesn't work.
It inhibits the ability.
Look at the numbers when there was 2 courts active. You'll see a completely different picture.
We get what you're saying, guys, but is it
figures.
justifiable spending money when we know we've got 2 courts 4.5 miles up the road that are just as easy to? Why do they have to be glass back?
They have to be glass back in order to allow for coaching. So
coaching, spectating, and competition.
Yes. Coaching and competition. So
it might be an incidental to you, but it can be quite fundamental.
It's not incidental, Rob. Rob, sorry, Mike. Sorry. But it's not incidental. But
Mike, the coach I've engaged.
We don't need glass backs to encourage sport. No. We've got 2 courts, 2 sets of courts at 2 different leisure centres that are very much underused. In fact, across the whole range, I think Salisbury's probably our most popular.
If you look at Salisbury, they've got 2 glass backs and 1 non-glass back.
Yeah.
If you go on the computer now and look at bookings, when you see 1 court available, it'll be the non-glass back court. Everyone wants to play on glass back courts. It is what professionals play on full glass courts. It's what people want to play on. Do you know what happens in 2028?
Squash in the Olympics.
Yeah. So and what happens when sports goes into Olympics?
Yeah. But I'm sorry,
we're taking things away.
You're prophesying these things, and I get it, but you are arguing this from one sport.
Yeah, but this
Jim's not a sport.
Come back to what I was saying. Why can't? Isn't there some other solution to be able to address?
The solution is we want to help you integrate you into the Leighton courts. That's our solution.
Okay. Sorry, just on. So what do you mean by integration? Just kick us there and say, there you go, they're there.
No. What I have got intelligence of is we've been there before because both these courts were shut down. So for a while, Scorpion had to go up to Leighton. I think you got. I'm going to be honest with you now,
and it was not the same. It was totally different.
Yeah, but I think part of that problem was you were dealing with a guy, weren't you? Was it the guy that was it a chap?
We dealt with. Are you referring to Ed?
The manager.
Ed, yes. Ed.
He's the area manager.
Ed Pooling.
Ed Poole or Ed
Pooling.
Yeah, he was the area manager. We dealt with it.
He's a squash player.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Ed. Ed is a squash player. He's a squash coach, and he believes in what we're doing here.
A certain irony with all this.
Yeah, but anyway, my point is, we've got a new manager up there at Leighton who is keen to. We know we've looked at the figures. You know, there is plenty of court up there to integrate the usage here, the usage there, and beyond that.
But if they were glass backed, it would be entirely different. But they're not.
I'm not making. I will accept that glass back courts are the bee's knees, and why wouldn't you want them? But it's playing squash and if you've got a squash court and you can play on it, and there's a balcony there that you can watch on it, and I'm sure a coach on it as well from about the balcony, that it's workable. But the numbers just don't. No. The numbers for the gym.
Sorry,
but they never have because there's never been promoted.
Let me step back from it. I've been around every leisure centre and one of the things that stuck in my mind when I first came to this was how many squash courts were not in use around? And the answer I got was because there wasn't the demand. There was squash courts being repurposed for soft play. There was squash courts being used as nurseries. There were squash courts
Spinning studios.
being used as
Yeah.
the weights thing. There was squash in almost every centre. The squash courts were underused. Now, the information we get from Sports England and we get from, I think, squash is it has been on the decline. Now, I'm sorry, we have to face that.
We accept that. Can I just say, we accept that. We understand the numbers have diminished on that and the courts underused. But our beef really is, Rob and I have had a lot of discussions about this, is really the promotion of the facilities, the courts that are there. We just see that's non-existent, the promotion. And that's, we've tried to drum up this, our squash club over the years, many years, 20 odd years, we tried to drum it up. But there's not, for example, we had a poster put out the front there eventually, didn't we? But we just think, where's the incentives, Lee, the initiatives to get people playing squash
I noticed it
That's
this morning.
really what we, as a businessman, I look for things like that, promotion, incentives, get these facilities used. Look, everyone in Warminster, come book in 5 squash.
Nobody knows.
We'll give you 2 free,
Can
just
I,
to get...
Can I ask you? Can I ask you as well? As a businessman, you made a good point there. Where is your building work? Where is it most profitable?
Where is it more?
Yeah,
most
where is it most sustainable? Where, if you've got a job, if you've got a
locally, yeah, I don't want to travel, yeah.
So you know, as a businessman, what's right.
Yeah.
So in the leisure industry, for the last 20, 30 years, gym memberships and swim schools are sustaining it.
Right.
Without gym memberships and swim schools, the leisure industry and leisure centres are up and down the country, and there's been a shift towards concentrating on that. So you concentrate on your local trade, we concentrate on the things that are... Now, it's not to say that we're... Because I think the model that we're developing here is, you know, we're not saying we're going to wipe out squash. We're not on a crusade to wipe out squash. We're just trying to look at the data that we've got in front of us and be as logical and as intelligent as we can with what we've got in front of us.
Understand. But without promotion of the facilities, it's going to diminish the demand.
Hold on a second. You guys have been promoting it, yeah? You've been promoting membership of your group.
We have done,
you know, how many active users of these courts do you have?
We've had a lot of people on our group come and then discovered that there's one court, or during COVID there was no courts, and we lost a lot of those people. They didn't come back.
We did. COVID hit.
We had about 28 or 30 people.
The bookings are up on those courts now over the last few months, because we come down on a Monday night, there's people playing before we get on the court, and at 7:45, when we do a double session, at 7:45, there's people kicking us off because they want to get on. So the bookings have enough. I reckon it's from the racket membership or the bolt-on that it's all gone up. You include that with the 500 members and give everyone access to it. People can play squash, you can play racquetball.
Yeah. If I could just add something, if Wiltshire County Council had communicated with the users of this centre and said, look, guys, the trend for squash seems to be going down. In a year's time, if that trend is continuing, we're going to have to consider demolishing these lovely glass-back squash courts and utilising that space in some other more profitable way. So, you know, if you can get, I mean, obviously the centre will promote stuff, but I'm retired. I can I've got plenty of time. Given that impetus and that information, I would have very happily gone out and promoted the squash courts. I was about to set up a ladder, a league, you know, a box league, which I used to do in Southampton, and that was, you know, guaranteed. You get 4 games a month. There'd be 5 people in each box. You move up and down the boxes, and it was fantastic, you know, fitness wise and sociability wise and everything else. I was talking to these guys and I said, well, how about setting up? Yeah, I'm happy to do that. The next news I get, the squash court's going to be demolished. You know, that to me is not consultation. That's not democracy.
I think it would have been nice just if we'd had a chance to be informed. Say, look, we know you've had a club there for 20 odd years.
I don't think there's not much you said this morning we weren't already aware of.
You
so
we
appreciate that.
I don't think you were, and I don't see any evidence that you have taken account of our youth promotion
I
project.
most certainly was aware of it.
And so why do you not refer to it?
Because you told us about it before.
So it's going to be in all the minutes.
So how is that going to be addressed? What can we do?
No, look.
You can't take the pupils from here are not going to go to.
At the end of the day,
later, are they?
I'm sorry. With change, there will always be those people who are not entirely satisfied or are disappointed. You know, and I'm sorry that is the case. But we have an overwhelming financial case. It is our decision.
Well, can we see the
decision
case?
has been made, and it is going to go ahead.
But you're taking £1 million of taxpayers' money, removing a sport, and leaving a gym that is never full.
No, that's not our. You see, that's not our picture. Our picture is.
But where? Who have you asked in the community that if you make the gym twice the size and put it downstairs, they're going to come?
Okay, let me put.
Because I live in
the
Warminster
question
and
the
I've
other
not
way.
been asked.
Let me put this another way.
Wait and
I
see.
went to the area board and presented them with this argument the other day. They supported it.
Yeah. On what evidence?
That's your democratic representatives.
On what evidence?
Were there? No, I showed them.
We presented the
overall
evidence, which
I
you've
showed
got.
them.
You've got.
This.
We would have presented
this argument.
We would have presented it to you
We've
without
got-
FOIs, but FOI, obviously there is. Yeah, you put the FOI, all the information.
No,
would be in there.
that isn't actually true, is it? Because the email correspondence that's gone on was, can you show us the evidence? No, and the response was, no, we do not have to show you evidence.
Okay, well that might be misinterpreted then.
No, it was written in
We'd have
black
to
and
look at
white.
the detail there, but
No.
I'm happy to share with you the slides that Ian presented with the evidence on it.
Well, they've been presented. They've been
Yeah,
sent.
They're
I
out there.
presented them at the area board, and I was asked by the town council to send the slides.
Yeah,
for
so
them to
these are
have.
the slides where you talk about 26% of over, is it 55, if I'm wrong,
Yes,
disabled.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So how many of that 26% come to the gym? And if you put a £50,000 lift in, could you use the current gym that's
It's
hardly
only
anyone
part
uses?
of the equation, though, Steve. It's only
Sorry,
part of the equation.
Well, it seems the
let me
basis.
finish what I was saying. That
It's important.
the town council had a meeting. I understand about this. They asked for what we presented. The area board, we gave it to them. Now, my understanding of the outcome of those two public meetings, where your public representatives are, the area board seemed very receptive. Perhaps you can tell me what happened at the town council.
until
I'm sure you
a
can
month
ask your
ago, the
guys
town
what
council
happened.
knew nothing at all about the proposal to demolish the squash courts. They knew
No, but
nothing
I'm
about
sorry,
it.
I'm asking the question.
So there was no
the town
consultation.
council's view of this project? Did they want to object to this project?
So if it doesn't go ahead, they're scared. If they don't agree to your plan,
Yeah.
they're going to lose the £1 million, and that's what they were all scared of.
It was very
There is
much.
So-
a distinct-
and it was
there is
clear.
a distinct risk of that, yes.
Yeah. Well, if you had consulted in the first place, then there wouldn't be a risk of that, because we would have had this conversation months ago. We wouldn't be here now trying to fight something that you've got booked in the process.
And if there's £1 million to spend, why can't we?
Sorry,
why can't
wait. There's not £1 million just, there you go, Warminster, what do you want to do with it?
No.
We have a central pot of gold where we are trying to make 20 leisure centres more financially sustainable into the future than they were in the
Well, let me
past.
correct it then
Now,
and say that
if-
£1 million spent here.
No, we developed a project that is in the
this is
region
not
of £1 million.
We haven't gone, here's £1 million, Warminster, what do you
Yeah,
want to
it
do
doesn't
with
work
it?
like that.
Okay.
No,
Right.
right, but I'm saying that. Am I right in saying you're spending £1 million here?
When we do the
In this
maintenance
centre.
on the changing rooms, it'll probably come to more than that, to be
Yes.
quite honest.
So the point is, a case had to be presented as to what it is you want to do in Warminster, the officers, to make this more financially sustainable. Because otherwise we're looking at things through a different viewpoint.
Well, we've
And
had
I mean
we've had this.
and
We're going to
really
go
got
backwards
to-
and forwards.
Really got to understand this. This is really serious. If we do not do these things, then I will be sat at the next budget having to identify which leisure centres I'm going to suggest get closed.
So if this goes ahead and you make the gym twice the size, and you don't get an extra 500 members within what time period would you say?
It's probably over a couple of years, 3 years,
Okay.
that will move to that figure.
Are you willing to put down on paper then that you'll resign from your posts if that doesn't happen?
Well, you wouldn't do that, would you?
Well, why are you doing it? On you've got no evidence.
We
You're
have
not
got evidence.
So who have you
I'll
asked?
tell you what I will do.
Who have you
I'll tell you what I
asked?
will do if I'm still in my post
Sure.
in that stage. If I have not managed to keep all 20 leisure centres open, yes, I will stand down.
Okay.
I'm going to come back to this
And I've
again.
got a
but
mortgage
whatever-
and 4 kids to
Well,
look after, so I ain't going to
exactly.
do that.
Whatever money we're spending here,
You're not that confident.
Why can't we
No, I am
find a way
confident.
of
I'm not
keeping-
going to put it down in writing.
Hold on, one at a
Sorry.
time.
With the money, whether it's £1 or £1 million to spend on this facility here, why can't there be a way of finding a way of keeping the squash courts, which keeps the revenue there from the squash, enables to open the doors more to more players and more revenue, instead of restricting that and spending the same amount of money? It would be better to keep the courts and find some way of developing the gym in the way that you want to do.
The data's telling us that we can more than happily merge the two at Leighton.
Well-
so what we're wanting to do is
What
successfully
data?
transfer you over to Leighton and
Doesn't
make a
work.
good fist of it
To
there.
be able to drive additional members is going to be tough there, because, as everybody's said, the glass back courts are the most vital.
What about the people
They
that
are.
live? People that live.
But
They are.
you keep seeing this from just the squash point of view and
No,
thinking,
no,
right,
no, no,
but
I'm not, no, I understand everything you're saying. I appreciate all
We
that.
get the
But
bigger
you've got a
picture,
chunk
yeah.
of money. You've got a checklist of things you've got to do in order to make everything better and indeed keep your positions. So you've got this checklist of stuff you've got to do. You've got to look at it and say, well, how can we incorporate everything into that?
So
And
can
I'm
I-
saying that surely there's some way of incorporating that, the
Well,
squash
so-
within that, without having to sort of see it as,
Well,
as a downer, which is what the story has been here, that nobody's playing squash anymore, and just cut it off. Why
Well,
do
the answer
There
to that
must be
so
a way
far
of doing
is the
that.
professional advice and the options we looked at, no, there isn't. And we have to make a decision, we've made a decision, that is what is going to
I
happen.
would love to have seen what the possibilities and alternatives were they discussed? I mean,
Well, the
can we
main
keep the
driving
squash
force
there?
is that if we do not move the leisure centre, the fitness centre from up there, we do not have a feasible project.
right, so if that's one of the most important
Yes,
things,
it is.
right, why can't it be moved to downstairs then and do something else with the squash courts and move things around?
What's going on? What's
There's
going
more
on?
space.
downstairs,
Sorry,
the only downstairs space is
You
the
could
No,
build
no.
up.
Sorry, what's
here.
going upstairs?
It'll be a community room, so
Okay.
it'll be so classes is very good as well. So classes is part of we'll have a virtual studio up there. We'll be doing some spinning up there, where the spinning bikes will stay out the way and be stored up there. But we'll develop it for community birthday parties, for families.
So my wife's disabled.
Yes,
How does she get up there?
we're going to look at that lift. But how does she get up there now?
She doesn't go up there.
Okay, yeah, it's a
She-
good point.
She's not a member here because most of your classes are virtual. She can sit at home and do that.
Yeah.
People who do these classes want physical instructors, but that's another point anyway.
My wife
Why
says-
can't
Steve, I'll
you-
be honest with you.
Why couldn't you move the the studio
Yeah.
to where the gym is, put the gym where the fitness studio is, not into those changing rooms, leave the squash courts where it is.
It's not
You've
the
got
same space.
That studio.
no, you would have the same because you're not
No.
just using the. So you're putting just the gym in the 2 squash courts. That's it.
It's
By
not
the
just
time,
about
the
if you.
time you've got the area outside around, it's a much bigger space.
So if you knock down, so where you've got those changing rooms that are not even there, the back of the fitness studio, that whole area would be a massive.
Any commercial fitness operator would not touch that studio as it is. We need to make it look better, but we need that for group exercise and for the fantastic things that happen
Yeah,
there
could
as
be
well.
upstairs and where the current gym is, right?
It's an option. We're going to use it as a community room.
But you could extend upstairs, couldn't you?
So your argument that you're moving the gym
Extend upstairs for what?
downstairs.
for whatever activities you're discussing, or the gym, to extend the gym upstairs. And put a lift in.
The gym is upstairs currently.
I'm saying, but extend it then upstairs and put a lift in here.
How can we extend it?
I
Where does it
presume it's
extend
on-
to?
Out over the flat roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
There's
that's
supporting walls
costing.
there.
When you
You're
start
talking
doing
about a
that,
different order of
guys,
cost.
and as a
Oh,
builder,
no,
I'm
no,
sure.
no, structural engineers. I think that's quite feasible.
Expensive.
No,
Very
no,
expensive.
No. I'd like to see the estimated list of costs?
Yes.
Is it generally going on equipment then? For the
No,
gym?
there'll be refurb. This will look. We can't just
you've got the
put
structure.
brand new
Yeah, the
equipment
structure's
into
there.
the space and expect to pull members in. There will be a total refurb, and the all the infrastructure that goes around it as well.
You've got
will need
structure
looking
there
at.
already.
Well, we've got the structures there,
Yeah.
but we'll need to put aircon in there. We'll need to put electrical points in there.
Yeah.
We'll need to make sure that all the amenities
Yeah.
are like a modern day fitness experience.
But that you've got to do that anyway.
Sorry, can I just? I'm very
Yeah,
aware
we're
that
nearly done. We have to go.
Yeah. Okay. So here's just one final thought, perhaps. You're after bums on seats. You're after people paying £30 a month every month membership.
Mainly for public health gains. Yeah.
Yeah. Squash is a great public health gain, but
No, but it's about
yeah. But
where we go for the most.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, you want bums on seats. And you're at the moment the plan is that if the gym is bigger and better, you're going to get more bums on seats. I'm dubious about that, but hold on. If you included squash as part of the normal package, the normal £30 a month, if you included squash and you included racquetball, that's another approach. That's another way of getting bums on seats. I mean, what's that looked at?
Yes, but it doesn't fit in the space.
The squash was already there.
No, because we need the squash space to do what we want to do.
So you're only going with
I know you want to do it. Well, what I'm saying is perhaps that's not the best thing. It isn't to.
It hasn't worked, Ian. We moved away from. We used to put rackets as part of the membership, as part of the new pricing strategy. We totally removed that. There is a rackets membership there, which Steve has taken membership on, and a few have here. We get that, but it's not what drives numbers. It doesn't work.
It only came in January.
Yeah.
And what
for you?
Yeah.
Because I argued it.
Yeah,
And
no,
what promotion?
No, we introduced it at other places as a solution when we withdrew it. Where it was, we introduced it as a solution.
No.
Yes, we did.
Ian, you remember I had a conversation with you the back end of last year. There was no racket membership here.
Not here.
Got introduced.
Correct.
Yeah.
So since it's been
But we
here,
introduced it. You made a good point.
but since it's
and
been
we
here,
listened.
Yes.
yeah,
Go on.
you've not promoted it.
No, but has it changed anything? You said
There's
it
no
would
promotion.
change it.
Do you think,
There's zero
Steve, if we
promotion.
promoted it, we'd have the
Has it
floodgates
changed?
open?
Well, you
Well,
should
you
include
seem
it.
you seem to think
Expecting the gym would do that.
you're expecting the gym to do
So
that.
we've got to make business decisions here, guys.
So do you have a swim, so you run
Hold on.
swimming? So just let me get this one point. So you make swimming classes, yeah. So you say we're going to have a swimming teacher here.
Yes.
Do you promote that to get people to come and go swimming?
Yes.
So why don't you promote squash? People might then come and play squash. It's the same, isn't it?
It is, and I could go into and wax lyrical because that's my
Sorry.
core
Yeah,
business.
but you know, the same is true the other way around. You guys are on Facebook and everything else. I'm sure you have promoted your club. Have you promoted it?
But you get paid.
Excuse me,
You're
that's,
getting paid.
that's not our job.
We're doing a lot of
We're customers.
I could sit
We're
you down and
customers.
talk you through everything
So
that
no
we do.
offence, Lee, but he's the manager here.
Yeah.
He should be doing it. He should be on Facebook. Look at Tidworth Leisure Centre. It's one of your councils. They're always
yeah, we know.
advertising on Facebook. Everything they're advertising.
Yeah.
Nothing from Warminster.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll
The
take
lesson
that
learned.
point. We'll take that point.
The point. Gentlemen,
Okay.
we're overstepping.
Thanks for your time. All right.
It was good to meet you all.
We knew it was going to be a tough.
Yeah, we knew it was
call.
going to be a tough one. Yeah.
So where can we go
Okay.
forwards from here?
Well, this project is happening, guys. But
Doors closed.
what I wanted to kind of olive branch as much as I can is I'd like to introduce you to the team up at Leighton and see how we can integrate you as quickly as possible into the facilities up there, and we will look after you.
So what's the appeals procedure?
There isn't.
There isn't not to an officer decision.
There is no appeals
No,
procedure. Right.
no.
Okay.
Sorry, and when you say integrate, I'm really confused of what you mean by that. Because to me, it just means here's Leighton, there's 2 squash courts.
No, I
Off our
would
backs.
want the man. No,
Well, there's only one.
no. What? Let me be clear. So I would want Michelle and Laura, our area manager, sat down with you guys, looking at the court availability and what they can do and how they can. Is integrate the wrong word? I don't know.
So are you
Get
gonna-
you
are you
comfortably
Are
accommodate.
you going to promise us? So here we don't get treated as a club. We have to book the courts personally. are you willing to then? So if we do get bumped to
We used to.
Are you
Steve, we can look at
Right,
it. Yes.
hold on a second. The information I have so far is, if I was just picking off each squash court, the squash courts over there may be at risk. If we just go purely on the usage to date, my recommendation to you is get across there, have a conversation with the centre manager, work with the centre manager, whether it's to do with publicity, whether it's to do with whether we do or don't reopen the second court there, because at the moment the second court is not being used, but perfectly happy to have it used if there is the demand. But simply telling us that you're all terribly keen on squash and you want squash courts or whatever, when the experience we have is there isn't the demand.
Right, but if
Now,
are you going to promote it?
get
then?
there and make that demand, please.
Are you going to
this
spend
risk
some
just
money
spreads
to
elsewhere.
promote?
We are going to lose members
Those
because
courts?
people who live in the Wye Valley, etc., already travel to here. They're not going to travel that much further. So we're going to lose people by these closing. So, you know, we have to
The
accept
distance between here and Leighton isn't as important as the distance to here. So we've got people who come from Mere, we've got people who come from Wiley.
Who could be going to Five
Shaftesbury,
Rivers, could be going to Shaftesbury.
Gillingham.
They could be, but they come here
They come
because of
to
our
play with
club.
us.
Okay.
We know them. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
And a couple of them families. Now, my two boys
this
play.
is seriously undermining our community.
Well, apparently, I only have to say back to you, your area board didn't seem to think that, and the town council doesn't seem to think that.
because they're scared of losing the £1 million. If we were allowed a fair vote, if you allowed them to vote again to say, right, we get the £1 million no matter what, now what's your decision? I bet you get a completely different.
No, I think you would.
completely different
Absolutely.
answer.
Absolutely.
And the
Now,
town
in the
council,
business
but the
of
whole
saying, here's
system-
£1 million, this is, what would you like to do?
It's not a case of
We-
that.
we
We
have
could
to
think
do
of
it
how
as a
we
financial
invest it in a
investment.
more
But if we were people were
business
consulted-
case like way.
The whole process, you haven't consulted at all, and your emails state that you don't have to consult. You know, it's public money, and now we're having to fight afterwards. If we'd had this discussions beforehand, look, we're looking to invest in Warminster Leisure Centre. You don't need to talk about money. You know, what do the people want? Then we're.
But Steve, isn't it obvious what squash players are going to say about their squash courts?
Well, yeah, but then you're having the same argument with everyone, aren't you? So,
But
what gym? What gym
Steve,
member has
all
said
the
they want
time,
a gym
all the
done
time,
by
the
size?
council.
Don't see the
Steve,
gym people fighting against us.
Steve, what you're upset about is consultation. All the time, the council officers are having to make decisions that are not necessarily consulted. Happens every day, every week, or whatever. There is a level. There are rules around where we have to consult. If we think that it would help, we do it, or whatever. But there are times where we have to move on and make decisions and make it happen. Otherwise, we will be in the same position as other councils are.
You're not in
where our
isolation either,
finances don't.
No, I know we're not alone.
balance.
We've covered other media. We know that.
We-
You mentioned town council meeting a couple of times there. And actually, at the town council meeting, all the members of the town council, not one, over a period, and I quote, years and years, have even come down the sports centre. Not one of the town. So that we disregard really that.
Sorry, they're your
because it
democratic
wasn't
representatives.
relevant. I know they're representatives, but none of them have actually been down here.
So Andrew
But that's-
Morrison,
which we felt, so we weren't wholly, fully represented.
I met Andrew
really
Morrison
on
with a couple of other people on Friday. He's been to this centre before, and he never knew there were squash courts there because there's no signage to tell you that they're there.
And you don't have to walk past
Anyway.
them going around.
Guys,
But-
we're going
We
to
have
Okay.
to go, guys.
So,
All
what
right,
are you going
look.
to do with the glass?
Yeah, I want it. I'm putting a bid into that glass.
Is there a suggestion?
You put it at Westbury.
Well, for God's sake, don't
I know
smash
if
it
it's
up,
that
'cause
simple.
expensive bit of
Steve,
glass.
we'll have a look at it.
It's a
Yes,
Oh.
we put that on the
Yeah,
an agenda for the.
We'll have a look at
Consider
it.
that.
Guys, am I introducing you to the management team up there?
yes, please.
Yeah.
You've given us
Good.
no choice.
Well, yeah, it's fair enough. That's a fair point.
We'll accept it, the meeting, but doesn't mean we're stepping back.
No. I wouldn't expect you to, guys. I wouldn't expect you
Can I
to.
just say one thing? I'm sorry, I don't mean this isn't meant in any negative way, but unless this centre is promoted and you have a proper action to market this centre, no matter what services are here, you've got people doing proper social media, and you've got a proper structure, and you're spending some good money on that, it's going to fail. And it's failing now because you've already said
It's not just that, Ian. It is being done, but we could spend another hour talking to you about how we market the centre.
But my concern is that it's not going to happen because it hasn't happened to date.
They're the best
It's gone
ones,
for
aren't they?
years with no promotion.
Oh yeah.
And that's why it's in the state it's in at the moment.
Yeah.
That's why
We
we're
hear
sitting
you.
here.
We
I'm
hear
not
you.
sure that's. Yeah. But yeah, you're right, Ian. You're right. We got to go, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming. You'll contact me, Ian.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll put you.
Thank you.
I'll get your email.
Thank you, Ian.
In fact, what I'll do is I'll pass